Klatt,
Here.
Vedbrotten,
Here.
Melby,
Here.
Jurdy.
Here.
Okay, it's time for the open forum. If anyone would like to address the council on any issue not already on tonight's agenda, may come to the podium, state your first and last name and address, please. Hearing none. Chad, anybody on the phone bridge, please?
No, Your Honor, I will close the bridge.
Thank you.
Agent logged up.
Okay, we have a couple presentations tonight. We will start with Libby Boucher on Oxgarde Days fireworks. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. I had actually initially called to say, please give us money for Oxgarde, but I found out today you guys already did, so. But as the chair of the festival, I wanted to officially thank the city of Crookston for the continued support of this event. In the truest spirit of partnership, the community has already come together in a huge way to make sure that we can continue in 2022 what we've done for 34 years. Once again, we have events scheduled for every day of the week. We currently have 76 confirmed events on the schedule. We have, I think, 6 waiting to be completely confirmed. And as always, the city's contribution of the fireworks, as well as the cooperation with the fire department, the police department, and the incredible hard work and help from both Parks and Rec and the Public Works, really illustrates kind of the best example of a partnership that we could possibly ask for. So as always, we are striving to keep this as affordable and accessible and continue to keep it as one of the best things that we do in Crookston. So again, I came to ask, but now I'm just saying thank you. So that's pretty much all I have. It was just going to be a quick one tonight.
Thank you, Libby.
You bet.
Okay, we have one more. We have Elliot Steinbrink. It's going to do a little presentation on APG. Thanks for coming.
Good evening, everybody. I've been here at least once before, but we'll try and make this quick. And just a little bit of backstory. We re-engaged the city about 4 months ago with regards to the APG apartment development up on North Broadway. And things are moving forward quite smoothly. Robert has been great to work with, and we look forward to putting a project together. So a couple different slides that I've got Chad's pulled up for us. These are just a couple renderings from the initial go-around. The intent is to do the project in 2 phases. The building on the right would be the first phase, and then the building closer to Broadway would be the second phase. Both buildings will consist of 39 units with garages. This would be a view looking from the opposite side of the street where the townhomes are at currently. This would be the street view as if you're driving from like Casey's. Go ahead. Another view from the townhomes. And this would be driving towards Casey's. The next slide, I think, is a preliminary construction schedule. We've been working, like I said, we've been working with Robert. Our intention is to have everything put together so the city can complete their portion of the work this fall yet, with our intention of going to permit sometime in late January, early February, with the intent of digging the first foundation right away this spring, or right away next spring, rather. Like I said, both units will be market rate apartments. Both buildings will be 36 to 39 units, depending on what we can fit on the property. And all questions if.
Will you be doing, you're gonna do it in stages, or you're gonna?
Yep, so the intent would be to do the first building, which is closer to the current apartments that are there now. The intent would be to do that first, and then depending on how quickly that fills up, and how well it's received within the community, then we would move on to phase 2, which would be the second building.
Will you be doing the garages with that building?
We would do the first set of garages. I'm not gonna build all the garages for both buildings right away.
Right.
Yep.
So 2 buildings, 36 to 39 units
Yep.
each.
What are any challenges that you are currently having? Are you having any right now?
To be honest, this has gone very, very smoothly. I've been working with Brandon, on some of the infrastructure stuff, and then Robert has been coordinating everything, as far as the business subsidies and all of the paperwork to get put together. A compliment to Robert, this has gone drastically different than the first time we approached the city about getting everything put together. So, very optimistic about it being a smooth process all the way to the end.
What's for infrastructure up there? We got everything we need pretty much up there, or?
So, Brandon, correct me if I'm wrong, the way that the current infrastructure is, everything runs on the west side of the road, which would require us to go over to Casey's and cut apart their approach in order to get it from that side of the road. So we felt that the easiest, simplest way to do it would be to actually just put a line across Broadway further towards the south of the property so we don't disrupt Casey's.
Isn't that kind of what they had planned in the beginning, on your last time too?
That was the plan, yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you plan on coming here and maybe giving updates or anything, or how? Because I just want to,
I'm pretty good at doing what I'm told, so if you guys want updates, I'll certainly do that. I intend to be back here next week there's a couple meetings, one at noon and one at 7 o'clock, in the evening. I'll plan to be here for both of those. But as the process, moves forward, I certainly can. Yep.
I mean, maybe it doesn't need to, I would just like, even if it was an email to the council, to
For
us,
sure.
just how things are moving along for you, and if
Yep.
there's any roadblocks that you're running into that maybe we can.
And I
help
would
with.
like to run that through Robert, just so we have one line of communication. And he's been copying the appropriate people. I don't have everybody's email, but he's been copying the appropriate people just to make sure that we get all the questions answered.
Okay,
I think he's probably pushing it further onto me to where I'm the lag, I guess, in responding to emails, so.
okay.
Good.
Okay, anything else? All right, well, thank you, Elliot.
Yes, thank you guys for your time.
Yep.
Thank you, I bet. That's good. Good news.
Okay. This brings us to the agenda. Does anyone wish to remove or add or remove anything from tonight's agenda? I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second?
Go ahead, Steve.
Steve, second. Thank you. Discussion? Hearing none, can I roll call, please?
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Ved Bratton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Right, this brings us to the consent agenda. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Can I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Is there a second?
I'll second, Your Honor.
Thank you, Christie. Let's have roll call, please.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Ved Bratton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, no public hearings, regular agenda. Ashley, please.
Yes, Your Honor. Item 8.01 is a resolution authorizing to execute the Minnesota Department of Transportation Grant Agreement Number 1050380 for airport improvement, including land acquisition for state project number A6001-58 at the Crookston Municipal Airport, Your Honor.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to approve this
I'll make
resolution?
that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne. Thank you. Discussion. Corky's got a little brief on this.
Yes, what this is you'll recall, we have budgeted or think we're gonna spend $50,000 to have a new ordinance at the airport, moving the runway from one area to another. We've asked the state for $35,000. We have a matching amount of $15,000, and all FAA grants have to be administered by the Minnesota Department of Transportation. That's what this is.
Thank you. Further-
if they happen to say no money, then what do we do?
Then you'll have to reconsider if you want to spend the money out of city funds. But we're fairly confident that they will in fact allow the 35,000. This grant signing by the appropriate officials is necessary for them to do that.
Okay.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Ved Brenton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Moving on.
Item 8.02 is a resolution approving the Small Cities Development Program Commercial Rehabilitation Loan Program Deferral Loan Repayment Agreement and Mortgage for Craig and Catherine Theed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Christie. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Delane. Discussion. Corky.
What this involves is repayment of a loan that the Theeds were given in the amount of $13,399. They have been paying on that loan, and they have a minimum amount due and payable now. Why we're asking for this tonight is the Theeds have sold the building now, and in order to clear the title to that, eliminate the mortgages, this is a mortgage satisfaction. They have indicated to us, and I've checked with Ryan, there's a balance of approximately $6,000 due. They have said that they will pay that. And they're closing actually tomorrow, so you need council approval for the satisfaction, and we would not deliver that satisfaction until we receive the funds or assurance that we would.
But it's gonna be paid tomorrow, you say?
It'll be paid tomorrow, or there'll be money escrowed to pay that loan down. That was a loan at 3% interest.
Okay.
And they've been making monthly payments throughout the whole duration of the loan.
Further discussion. Hearing none, can I have roll call, please?
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Ved Brenton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Item 8.03 is a resolution approving the Commercial Rehabilitation Loan Program for Craig and Catherine Theed.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Tom. Is there a second? By Don. Thank you. Discussion. Corky, once again. please.
This is a little bit different. Now, this is a loan in the equal amount of $13,399. It was one of those loans that's totally forgivable if the commercial property were inhabited and used for an entire 5-year period. As we all know, the unfortunate death of Dr. Theedy makes that a factual impossibility for him to do that. They have approached the city asking for forgiveness of that amount of $13,399. As I indicated in the resolution, the building is sold. I mean, it'll be closed tomorrow. That mortgage exists in that amount of $13,399. There were never payments made because it wasn't required. If they kept the building and used it for commercial purposes at the end of 5 years, it could be and would be satisfied, the mortgage. Circumstances, you may be aware, Dr. Theed died. He has a widow and 2 children under the age of 4. The building was sold for approximately $129,000, $110,000 approximately owed, so there is $19,000 of equity. We have a first lien mortgage position in that amount. And it, under our agreement with the Theeds, and they signed, we have the right to pursue that as a city in that total amount if that's what we choose to do. They have asked it to be forgiven in its entirety to allow the transaction of sale to be consummated tomorrow.
How far along were they?
There was no payment done. They were about two and a half years into this
So they had
agreement.
about 2.5 years left to make it to their full.
Approximately, yes.
Was this from state money that, like rehab loan type thing for businesses?
I think it's a rehab, yeah.
It was a rehab loan, yes.
Okay. Is there any state guidelines to this here that, you know?
I'm going to ask Ryan to step up and answer that question. He has better information than I do.
You as the council have say in whether we would forgive that forgivable loan or not.
But it's state funding, is that correct?
No, it's through the revolving loan fund that we have.
Okay.
But
And-
where does that come, where does that money come from? Where does that money come from?
Every one of those loans that we do, the interest that we make on those goes into an account, and as that account grows, that's the money that we use to lend out.
And is there any stipulations for death of the recipient or anything of that nature?
There is some, and Corky can elaborate a little bit on that.
What was your question again? I'm sorry.
Is any stipulations if there's death of the recipient of the loan? Is there any?
No, there's no status stipulation. It's just we have a first lien on that property regardless of life or death if we choose to exercise that.
Yeah, and these loans were signed by
Both parties, both.
individuals, so then with the death, it would remain her then that is
Right.
responsible.
They were co-signers on the agreement.
So the building's worth 119 right now?
I believe it was sold for approximately 129,000. I do know from doing a little research that there was approximately $142,000 put into the building. It was rehabbed partly with our money and partly not, but it had about $142,000 put into it.
And Thieves did try to bring in another chiropractor to take over the business for them, and I guess that was not successful for them.
Yeah, my understanding from speaking with Dr. Thieves' father, that they contacted approximately 100 chiropractors throughout the state and other areas to try to get someone to take that over. By all accounts, there certainly is a need for a second chiropractor in Crookston. My understanding is there will be at least one, if not two, commercial tenants in this building in the very near future.
Is this gonna set any type of precedence that we don't want to do?
I'm not going to, it will set a precedent,
Or will
certainly.
it put something in that when we do these loans, maybe we do a stipulation with, covering it with a life insurance policy?
Well, yes, that was my recommendation. I tried to craft the resolution that you all saw to show the uniqueness of this particular situation so that, yeah, it'll be a precedent, sure. But there was the death, the unexpected death, the widow not presently employed, 2 young children. I would think it would be very advisable to have on any types of these loans a policy of insurance, much like other loans we've dealt with, much like all of you probably dealt with when you purchased property or homes, that a policy of insurance naming the city as a beneficiary under that policy of insurance for the full amount of the loan would be very advisable.
Well, that's what I was kind of thinking too, you know, because if we made them do a lien on their mortgage, there should have been probably a life insurance in there too. But, so in the future, that's what should be done.
Certainly advisable. I don't believe that was a requirement of the funding at
No,
that time.
Not at the time when they took out the loan. We didn't have that in place because they looked at the mortgage was the value, that whatever that building could sell for, we'd recapture our funds from that sale.
So I mean, what needs to happen to get that put in place going forward? I mean, is that
We
some-
can change that at any time going forward with the regulations and stuff that are out there. We can change our policies. Okay, if you're gonna do this loan, you're gonna have to have some type of being able to repay it, whether that be a life insurance policy or you could have a CD with that amount to give us.
Any type
guarantee.
of collateral that we would be satisfied as a city. Certainly preferable would be some form of term life insurance. They're fairly inexpensive, and they can cover the full amount of any loan at any time.
Right. Do we have any other of these loans out there right now?
Yes, you have some other ones out there currently, yes.
That's a,
I know it's a bad deal, but it's still, I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, what happened in that situation. I mean, they were gonna fulfill that, you know, they had every intentions, and it's not like it's a bad loan. It's just unique circumstances, you put it in the.
That's
memo
tragic,
there.
no doubt about it. But
So they purchased it for, or they sold it for 129.
That's my understanding, yes.
I mean, so, I mean, when it got sold to them, any idea what it sold for back when they bought it?
I don't have any idea what that would have been sold to them for at all.
Yeah, and I don't believe that I have that either. I'd have to look and see, but I can give you an answer maybe tomorrow on that.
But as Councilman Melby suggested, what we do here will be considered by other people in the future. One of the ways potentially maybe to remedy that is to say, we need some insurance, we need some collateral in the future going forward. The previous loans they are what they are now. But that, like I say, term insurance, pretty inexpensive, but it's solid collateral.
Now, also though, at this point, we weren't expecting to get any of this money back. If he would have
That's correct.
carried on business, it's not like, you know, so I mean, with the business carrying on down there and you've got the building still on the tax rolls and with the higher value, I mean, I guess I can see that, and like I say, it's setting precedents. And if we do this and then put in something to help it so that it doesn't happen again, that I guess I could go along with that. I mean, we're sympathetic. If it was my, you know, if it was my own money, would I do it? You know, you probably didn't expect to get any back because this is what you wanted them to do. But if is there anything in the city thing that would crucify us?
Well, I wouldn't call it crucifixion, no. I don't think so. I mean, you're setting a precedent. I don't believe there's any policy within the city that says you cannot do this. It's just unexpected.
I mean, I think, like Wayne was saying, I mean, we probably were not gonna see this money. I mean, I believe that this business would have been there in another 2.5 years, which we would have never, I mean, they would have fulfilled their agreement, so.
Yeah, if it had been 5 years, there would have been no return to the city. But just so you understand and are clear, there can be other unforeseen circumstances that happen to these types of loans. And it's not binding on every situation. You're making a decision on this particular case with this particular set of facts. Could others look to that as a guide? Certainly. But this is being decided by you all on this particular set of circumstances.
On the other loans like that, do we have liens on the mortgages or something, or?
No, all the other loans are currently exactly the same.
So you have a mortgage
Right,
on the particular piece of property.
yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And as Corky's mentioned, we're going to now look at our current IRP programs and those loans that we do and having some other type of collateral that would cover these for
So
us.
actually, when you say a precedent, we've kind of covered that basis, but say unless someone passes away unexpectedly, then there's where they could come back and say, well, you did it here, did it, you know, but if it's just because they closed up business, that's a different story.
Can you recall of any other businesses that have not fulfilled that?
Not that I'm aware of.
And to my knowledge, there hasn't been any either. Because we have to report that every year with our stuff with Brady Marts, and there hasn't been anything. 'Cause they
And
watch
you
it
have
all.
done 2 of these, well, they've actually fulfilled the 5-year terms. Recently, you've had these same kind of mortgage situations where they fulfilled the 5 years, they paid the other loan off, but none that I'm aware of as the city council addressed this particular issue.
So this would release a lien on that side of it too then, right?
Well,
Is this still a lien part of it then?
Oh, as of today, there's still a lien existing on this
The first one we
property.
did was a lien also. This is the second part about it with the.
Right, there were 2 loans. One was interest bearing, which was paid every month, and they have indicated that will be paid. The $6,000 will be paid as a result of this sale, so we can issue a satisfaction. The second one is the forgivable one, if they had remained in the building for the 5-year duration.
I mean, he has strong business there, that's what, you know, my concern is that thing, he would have made that easily.
Yeah.
Okay, can I also ask, if we don't forgive this, is there a possibility that sale tomorrow won't go through and then we can't get those commercial businesses in there?
There is a possibility of that. We would just have to deal with that tomorrow. I believe the sale would still go through. I believe it would be addressed differently if you don't forgive. But it could put a damper, or if not it could stop the sale because we wouldn't be able to issue the satisfaction that's being required by the new buyer.
Yes. The mortgage, or the abstract company is waiting to hear from us tomorrow morning with a decision that happens tonight at council before they proceed with anything for their closing tomorrow afternoon at 2:30.
And I'm sorry, how much was it again?
$13,399.
And they're recorded as two separate mortgages every time that we do these.
For that very reason, because one is payable on a monthly basis and one is forgivable should they satisfy the time requirement.
I guess, for me, it's not a good situation for us, and certainly not a good situation for the family, but I just think for the future, no matter who's here, you or, we just gotta make sure we have that,
Collateral?
on all loans that we do. I mean, I just think that needs to happen no matter what.
Well, we do have collateral. We have the property.
Right.
But what you're suggesting, Councilman, is that we have additional collateral.
Yes.
In the form of an insurance policy or gold bullion or
Well,
something.
we had it for the initial loan, but this is a separate part of it, right? So
We have it on both
right,
loans.
okay.
The property secures each of the two loans.
Yeah, I guess I can go along with it too, as long as we keep in what we have, plus add a term life insurance or something to it. 'Cause it needs
Is
to
there
be
option
covered.
for doing some type of stipulation too, that if the loan owner passes untimely, plus the insurance policy? Because I wonder if that would satisfy the precedents that we're setting if we went going forward with that stipulation.
Well, you wouldn't necessarily need a stipulation, council person, because you have the policy of insurance,
Sure.
which would be a third-party payer as opposed to the original person who got the loan. So you are implicitly putting in that stipulation.
Okay.
I guess from my thought is that the idea behind the loan of getting that money put into that business happened. You know, they didn't take the money and go to Hawaii. I mean, they put it in there and they, in good faith, did that. And yeah, this is something that none of us thought about, or we would have had that provision in it earlier. And I think if we can help out, and you say that we're not gonna, create any more than just the precedents of something that we're going to fix, that I would like to see it go through rather than if she defaults on it and puts a bad mark on her record and can't make the sale of the building, what happens to the building, I mean, we could probably roller coaster a lot of different things that could happen if we don't try to help take care of this. And we didn't plan on getting that money back anyway. That's an investment into the community, and it's just unfortunate of what happened.
The way I look at it, we approved the first one, which, okay, the name's off there now. If we didn't do this one, they don't sell the property, we might not down the road get anything from that first mortgage, that they're whatever. I mean, we don't want to end up with a building either, type of thing. I mean, right?
Yeah.
If we went in there that, we approved the first one, we don't approve this one, the first one, if they back out of the deal, and now they don't have a sale, so they may not make that payment either, of the 6,000, whatever it was, I mean. Lots of potential.
That's certainly a possibility,
Right,
Councilman, but we don't know. And you're addressing the part of the precedent here of the death. If in the future you require additional collateral, life insurance, whatever, of whatever nature or additional, you're addressing that very issue with a third-party payer on a life insurance policy, not the decedent or the decedent's
Is it
family.
a whole lot of process to go through to put that into play?
I think it's just a requirement when someone seeks one of these loans, it will be an additional criteria for getting the loan.
Okay.
I appreciate both what Erickson and Melby said. I also think too, if we look at this large picture, that if the sale goes through and then we're able to get 2 more businesses in our town faster and they're paying the taxes and drawing the individuals in, that also would be to the benefit of the city as well.
Yeah, whoever moves in there, they're getting a very attractive building. I mean, it was well done compared to when he first bought the building. So it's move-in ready. There isn't anything really to do in that building, so.
Yeah, he just finished remodeling the building recently.
Correct.
So.
Okay, further discussion. Roll call, please.
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Van Brunton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.04 is a resolution authorizing the agreement with the University of Minnesota through the University of Minnesota Crookston with respects to use the Crookston Community Pool, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Christie?
Christie, discussion. Jake, you want to fill us in a little bit on this one? Thank you.
I was approached last week by the University of Minnesota Crookston. They have been operating in our pool. They have a 1-year agreement since 2013 to operate between the months of, so it'll be July 1st of 22 to June 30th of 23 this year. And they just have access to and use of the pool. They'll pay us $8,000 at the end of the term, and they can use the pool for any open swim hours, morning lap swims, evening aqua classes. If the university decides to do classes, if they gotta come to us or come talk to me first, and we can set that up for them. And then they just, in order to get in, they need to show their identification. So any faculty or students, they use their identification to show in, and that's all the lease agreement's about, so, or the use agreement, so. Any questions?
So the term's 1 year.
Yep.
You say they pay at the end of the term?
Yep, that's what the term says, ending June 30th, of the term, they'll pay the $8,000
And the payment this year in June will be for this entire.
for this entire
Year.
season, yep, yep.
Okay, thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, can I roll call, please?
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Klatt,
Aye.
Van Brunton,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.05 is a resolution calling a public hearing to consider a proposed business subsidy agreement with APG Development, Your Honor.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve this
I'll
resolution?
make that motion, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Clayton? All right, thank you. Discussion. Corky, please.
Business subsidy agreements are fairly unique to Minnesota. When a city provides services or materials to an entity for which there would normally be a cost to the developer, there has to be a business subsidy approved by the city. In this particular case, APG is getting some services rendered by the city of Crookston for which it will not be paying, but they have a value. And when that value exceeds a certain amount, you have to be aware of it. You have to approve the city rendering those services. And in this particular case, it's my understanding that those services will be valued at approximately $110,000. And I suspect Robert will have some more specifics on that. But the city will be using city time, city materials, city equipment, city labor to provide these services as an incentive to APG's development.
Is that the same that it was when they were working on that from before?
Yes, it's identical in fact, but better this time, in my opinion, because we have been able to specify what particular services or materials will be given, and we'll be able to place a value on those.
So is there a risk that we start providing these services and then say something happens with the project? Is it possible that then we're out of those services that were already provided?
Well, it talks about in the business subsidy agreement, if certain conditions aren't met, like how long you maintain the property and other conditions, then there will be repayment or payment for those services.
Okay.
If the services happen to go over this $110,000 mark, what happens then?
Well, then I'm sure Robert will be coming back to us and telling us, hey, there's more value here than we expected. But I think between the developer and our community development director, they'll have a very good handle on what those services will be and what their value will be. I would be surprised if they came back over that amount.
On here, it talks about a tax abatement. Is there a certain amount of years on that?
Well, initially, we thought that it would be 2 years, but we were able to discover a memo from the preceding city administrator that indicated 5 years, and that would be our expectation of 5 years, because there was reliance on that particular representation.
Further discussion? Hearing none, can I roll call, please?
Erickson,
Aye.
Briggs,
Aye.
Cavalier,
Aye.
Platt,
Aye.
Vedbrotten,
Aye.
Melby,
Aye.
Jurdy.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
Item 8.06 is a summary of the closed session from April 5th, 2022 City Council meeting regarding negotiations, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. I guess we don't need a motion. Corky, you'll just give a summary of the closed session we had last week, so.
On April 5th, we met in closed session, and this was with respect to the LELS negotiations on a contract. That's for law enforcement. Significant discussion was had with respect to the percentage raise which had been requested by law enforcement. Law enforcement had initially, in their opening proposal, requested a 4% raise. The city had maintained a 2.75% raise because that was what was budgeted. Subsequent discussions were also made with respect to, in our presently existing contract, the city has a 30-mile straight line requirement that officers live in order to respond. The LELS had requested that there be no mileage in the contract, so they would be, an officer would be able to live wherever he or she chose. There was another issue, which was the school resource officer issue with respect to compensation. Much discussion was had with respect to the raise which was requested by the police department for its officers. After some discussion, it was proposed that the city offer 3% raise. So that would be an increase of 0.25%. A discussion was had that funds were available within the present police department budget or other sources. In addition, we had as a presenter at the closed session, Chief Selzler, who indicated that, in his opinion, the 30-mile straight line radius to respond was not necessary. Contract review indicated that officers have to respond in a reasonable time, and it was thought that such a reasonable time limitation would meet the requirement that officers be able to respond. So discussion was had with respect to the issues and whether the raises which were being offered by the city related in any way to the city's losing officers to other law enforcement departments and different law enforcement agencies. Subsequent to the end of discussion, it was agreed to offer the LELS negotiator a 3% raise retroactive to January 1, 2022, eliminating the 30-mile straight line requirement for officers, and that the school resource officer issue would be resolved by the union.
Okay, thank you, Corky. All right, this brings us to reports. So we'll start with Brandon.
So with the recent weather, the river's gonna come back up again. I think it's supposed to crest Friday again around 20 feet. So we picked the pumps up a couple weeks ago. Now we're putting them back out. So we're getting good at it. Kind of depends on who you ask. We're getting ready for the storm that might come or might not come. So I'm hoping it comes as rain and we don't get a foot of snow, but we'll be ready for both. So been working with Elliot on trying to size the sewer end of that property there, and the guys have been busy. They've been running 2 shifts, sweeping streets, so they've been doing the busier streets in the middle of the night when there's not much traffic out, and it's kind of been spotty here and there. We got to do it when it's not, the roads aren't frozen, obviously. So I think they're about half done with town, so the south half of town. I know they're working up into the northeast corner now, so we'll see what happens. If it rains, we'll be able to keep sweeping and run some pumps. If it snows, we'll be plowing again. So that's all I got for this week.
Thanks, Brandon. Tim?
Thank you, Brandon. You took care of part of my notes here, so that's perfect. Last week was Severe Weather Awareness Week, and as maybe many of you heard on the KROX radio station, we had one of our firefighters every day on there talking about one of the topics of the day, giving out safety tips and stuff, so that was really good. We tested our outdoor warning sirens last Wednesday, which was the first Wednesday of the month. We ran across a couple of issues with a few of them. We're in the process of getting some of those fixed. They should be under warranty. One of the firefighters went out and fixed one of ours today, which we're hoping we're gonna test tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So if you get any calls, we'll be notifying the media to get that out, that we'll be testing the siren on the corner of Barrett and Fisher tomorrow afternoon at 1. So I'm sure we'll get some phone calls on wondering what's going on, but we just need to see what's going on with that. Skywarn training is coming up, which is a really good training. It's a weather spotter training for citizens. It's going to be held out at the University of Minnesota at Kiel Auditorium on April 20th at 6 o'clock. It's really informative. It's not like you're going to get a certificate or being called upon unless you want to, but it really gives you a really good idea what's happening in our skies if you're out at the lake or what have you. It's really, really interesting. It's just a couple hours long. You talked about the snow forecast. It sounds like most of it's going to be out towards Devil's Lake, so hopefully it just becomes rain for us. And I just want to thank the community for coming out Saturday night for our firefighter fun night. We had a really nice turnout, and everybody seemed to have a really good time. So, thank you.
Thanks, Tim. Jake, anything else?
Thank you, Mayor, Council. Currently, our registration has been open. It's open since April 1st. There was a few glitches that we found out kind of over that first weekend, but we got everything taken care of. And I think the registration has been going good. Andrea told me today, total right now with everything, we have 153 registered people for programs and activities that we're going to be offering. Right now, we are having issues with our pool. Our chemical, we have a chemical imbalance, and the pipe that was fixed this winter is starting to leak again. So I have been on the phone with the company that fixed the pipe. They will be here on Thursday this week, Thursday morning, to work on it and stop the leak. Currently, we are draining the pool, but we're not going to drain it all the way. We have to drain it just below the pipe, so the water is out of there. With the imbalance, I have Hawkins. It's a chemical company that we go through, that we order chemicals through, and they help out with, we get material and like mechanical things from them as well. So I talked to him again today. We have been running at a pH level of 8, which is not good. You have to close your pool. It's too high of a pH level since Tuesday last week. And we've been trying to chemical and get the balance correct, and we just can't. So there's an issue with the monitor and the control system that pumps and feeds the chlorine and the acid, or there's some way the acid and the chemical is not getting to the pool. So he'll be here Monday morning. That's the earliest he can be here to help and go through everything that he might have an issue with or thinks a problem is. So our plan was to reopen April 19th. If all goes well and the weather holds that we can get people here to fix the pool, that's the case. But if not, we're gonna have to hold off a little bit longer till we can get everything fixed, so.
Any projected expense on that leaking pipe?
No warranties covered because of the piece that they put into it was an existing piece. So he said he's gonna work really well with me though to keep the price low. So I talked to him again today, so.
So it's not, the leaking pipe isn't something that they fixed before, or?
No, they tied into an existing phalange pipe, and it's the existing part that's leaking, so.
You gotta dig up the cement again for that? Is that done?
No, that's not the cement. It's the main pipe on the wall underneath there. It's slowly leaking, but it needs to be fixed. It shouldn't be leaking at all, so.
Is this that one where we stuck a pipe inside of a pipe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's the main pipe that takes the water back to recycle and filter and then back through, so.
It's not the floor drain.
No, it's not the floor drain.
It's not the one we lined, it's
No,
the other one.
it's the other, it's the main pipe to the pool, the 10-inch pipe to the pool.
Okay.
So,
Would it be worthwhile, we going to go further back? Is that rotten, or was it just the joint itself, or what?
I personally believe, and I'm not a pool expert, but there's just a lot of pressure that goes through that area at one time, and I talked to Brandon today, and I'm gonna see if they can take a pressure test of that and see actually how much pressure is going through there, and see if we can figure out a solution from there too. So
It's the same game we play in the water world, you know, you start moving pipes around, it just happens sometimes, so, yeah, you could start from scratch and start over, but 99% of the pipe's still good, so it's one of those deals, it's unfortunate, but it just happens.
thank you. Is that it?
Thanks, Jake.
Yep, thank you.
Greg, anything?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Just a quick reminder that we have a planning committee next Tuesday night, April 19th. We have one item for an existing lot that's in the Woods Edition that we'd like to get rid of as a city, put it to the Planning Commission. And the other one is the APG development. We'd like to sit down with Elliot and review and discuss the variances and the land determination that was done previously. It was of July of 2019 and October of 2019, I believe, the dates for that, so, but they were pre-approved, but at the same time, we just want to verify that everything's staying the same and, you know, that it's just a confirmation, affirmation that the project is the same as was proposed before.
As long as it's still the same, we don't have to go back and approve.
That's
all
correct, but we just want to
Yeah.
go through the planning commission and make sure that's correct.
Okay.
That's it.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you.
Robert?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Corky, with your permission, I'm going to talk about the subsidy agreement. Subsidy agreement is to inform the public of the general or an estimated cost of the benefit they're getting from the city. It's not going to be a checklist item that we run down because we don't know what we're going to encounter. And secondly, we're comparing 2019 dollars with 2022 and 2023 dollars. And quite frankly, when you start working underground, you don't know what you're going to find. So I'm going to read you the list of the subsidy that's going to be provided. The price of the lot is going to be $90,000. That will be paid to Cheetah. The city of Crookston is going to haul off some excess material from the lot, and that's going to happen in the late summer, early fall of 2022. We are also going to deliver a sewer connection to the west side of the property. That sewer connection is going to be, I think, a road bore, is that right? And it's going to be sized to handle both units, phase 1 and phase 2. We're going to waive the tap fees for both water and sewer. We are going to have a 5-year tax abatement, so even their taxes will vary year to year, so there's no way we can know what the levy is going to be in future years. Cheetah is going to give them a one-time $10,000 landscaping subsidy. That's a whole lot better than looking at receipts for grass and aerators. And they're going to start their construction project in the spring of 2023 after clearing the land in 2022. So you are going to exceed the $110,000. I can't tell you right now by how much, but in 2 weeks, if everything goes according to plan, you will have the business subsidy in front of you in a public hearing, and after the public hearing, I believe you're going to be asked to approve that business subsidy.
Any idea where you're gonna put this dirt you're gonna take off of there?
That's a good question, Brandon. Where are you going to put that dirt, buddy? You going to haul it out here to McIntosh? No.
We got a stockpile at the street shop, so we'll just keep adding to that pile. You can never have too much black dirt. So.
All right, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Chad, anything?
1 second. I have no report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Darren?
No report tonight, Your Honor.
Thanks. Brian, anything else? All right,
That's
thanks,
no
Ryan.
report.
That was a no. Since I kind of skipped over, I think, Wayne last time, we'll start with him tonight.
Okay, I was just noticing today, and it's been on TV about the clean up and grab a garbage bag and get out and pick up some trash outside. And I saw a number of residents doing that in town here today, so I recognized Scotty Clevin and Dolores Maves and a few other people I didn't recognize, but there was probably a good 6 to 10 people out doing that, and it's just kind of a nice thing, so if they can continue that, that'd be great. Other than that, I really don't have anything.
Thank you. Christie?
No report, Your Honor.
Thank you. Steve?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. Clayton?
Just want to let Brennan know that the city's cleaning up pretty good. They even got my street today, I noticed. So it's looking good, cleaned up. Improved it. Nothing else, Your Honor.
Thank you, Clayton. Don?
Quick report, Your Honor. The Chamber of Commerce is very excited about this grant. They've been working with UMC, and the UMC received a deed grant it's a business partnership grant, and UMC is going to be offering an entrepreneurial and small business classes for owners and people who want to become entrepreneurs. And there will be 3 different sections of that, 4 weeks. So the first one is in April 11th, the second one is September 22nd, and the third one's November 2nd, and more of this will come out later in the newspaper, but it's an exciting thing for Crookston and for people who want to get trained in entrepreneurship and small business owners and people who want to become those kind of people, own something in Crookston and also and be entrepreneurs and start their own businesses. So, and it's free, it doesn't cost anything. That's all I have, Your Honor.
Thank you, Don. Delane?
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tom.
Nothing tonight, Your Honor.
And my apologies, I was supposed to start with the interim city administrator, and I goofed up again. Corky, anything else?
Overlooked as always.
I know how you feel.
We'll have to have a root beer over it. Again, last week, we had a number of items on Monday to get the agenda ready for tonight, because I was gone to Denver, Colorado for the remainder of the week, and was coming back last night, but we got canceled for who knows what reason, so we got back today. We had a good department head meeting last week, a number of issues discussed. I think those are really valuable. I want you all to know that, and you probably do, but really, we have a great team working together. We bounce ideas off one another, and things turn up really well. So other than that, the University of Colorado baseball team was undefeated when I was there, and the coach, who I know, was really happy.
All right, thanks, Corky. I really don't have much tonight either. I would just like to wish everyone a happy Easter around the corner, and it sounds like we may get snow, we may not get snow, but I'm hearing there's another front for Easter Sunday. So, thank you. Nothing else to come before council. We are adjourned.